This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
If those around us aren't prepared to respond when tragedy strikes, life can quickly slip away. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of courageous people battling against the odds on Rescue 911. We begin on the morning of January 5th, 1991, near Columbus, Ohio, as truck driver Franklin Bicknell had just finished delivering a load of steel beams.
I was trying to get home as quick as possible, but as safe as possible, too. And I was just running along about, I'd say around 35 mile an hour, at 40 at the most, because I had noticed ice forming on the road.
Tony Frazier was out running some errands in her husband Charlie's pickup truck, which she rarely drove.
I warned my wife when she left, to keep eye on the roads because it was raining. You can never depend on the weather.
Tony was 8 months pregnant with their second child.
I see there's cars passing me in the passing lane, and I thought if those people could see what I was seeing on the highway, they probably wouldn't be passing like that.
Let's get a squad out here as quick as we can. This witness a pickup truck flew over the guard railing.
I just got on my CB and I started hollering on her, saying, please, somebody get some help. We need an ambulance.
When we continue,
we rolled her over on her back, and immediately I think to myself, this lady is 8 or 9 months pregnant. And I thought it's not going to be one death, but it's going to be 2 deaths.
When the pickup truck Tony Frazier was driving crashed through a guardrail, it rolled down a steep embankment, landing upside down in an icy river. Chaplain Mabin Sanner was on his way home when he witnessed the accident.
My first impression was that no one could live through that wreck. And I wish I wasn't here. And I wish that I was somewhere else and not being faced with the circumstances that I was under at the present time. But anyway, I faced the realization that I had to run down that hill. And the hill is very steep. It was icy, it had been raining, it was frozen. There was a coat floating on top of the water over in the driver's seat. And I just had a sense of just total futility. Why bother? Because they can't be alive.
I was petrified, and at that time I was thinking that really and truly a ride like that person had went through, that they could not survive that. But I knew that regardless of the outcome, we had to get the person out.
At that point I could reach the coat, and so I stuck my arm through the door, and I caught a hold of the coat, and I could tell that there was a body inside the coat. To be honest with you, probably the most difficult thing of the whole thing was that act of sticking my arm through a door that I thought was a dead body.
Turn her over.
I just took for granted that she was dead. We rolled her over on her back, and immediately I think to myself, this lady is 8 or 9 months pregnant. And I thought, well, it's not going to be one death, but it's going to be 2 deaths.
Okay. Get some help. We need some blankets down here.
I was thinking, oh, God, you know, it's such a shame that a young person like this would lose her life. All at once, she'd cough. And that's when I realized that she was still alive.
And she said, if one of you men have a Kleenex, would you please wipe my nose? And this, just like this, as she came to, and there was superficial water around the top, around her nose. And of course, at that point, we really began to rejoice and shout and, hallelujah.
And we realized that we couldn't move her too far because we didn't know the extent of the injuries. And I told her, I said, everything's going to be all right. Down deep, I didn't think it was going to be. I didn't think she would make it. I honestly didn't.
Within 13 minutes, Madison Township and Columbus Fire Department rescue units began arriving on the scene. Among those who responded was paramedic Steve Roth.
She was obviously scared, and when she told me that she didn't have any feeling, you could see in her eyes that she knew something was wrong. And I realized right away, especially the method of injury, that she had a spinal problem.
Paramedic Bob McDonald also helped treat the victim.
Vitals were pretty unstable at that point, so we wanted to get her mobilized and get her up in the medic as fast as we could, and to get her blood pressure up because she was 9 months pregnant, and we were worried about the baby not getting an adequate blood supply.
I wouldn't have given her a lot of chance for a recovery, considering what she'd been through.
No feeling from the neck down. She's got a blood pressure about 130 over 60.
Tony was rushed to Mount Carmel East Hospital, where she was treated by neurosurgeon Warren Leimbach.
There's very little break in the bone itself. It would just literally pull apart, as if somebody had taken her neck and just snapped it in half. Can you feel me touching you here?
X-rays revealed that she had suffered 2 broken vertebrae, and her spinal cord was severely bruised.
Over here? I had told her that the chances of her walking again or moving her arms and legs were very, very small, almost nil.
Tony, we're just going to take a picture.
Tony's obstetrician, Dr. John Russ, was brought in to consult.
And we decided at that point that she should deliver her baby as soon as we could get it out, because this was certainly the best way to keep the mom and the baby from further compromise.
I'm Dr. Leimbach. I'm a neurosurgeon.
Tony's husband, Charlie, rushed to the hospital as soon as he heard what had happened.
She has broken her neck and has...
I remember in the hallway after he told me that she was paralyzed from the neck down, it was like it wasn't true. Everything was in slow motion. Everything was like a daze. And we went in. I was standing beside Tony. I remember looking at her because she looked so scared, and grabbed her hand, put a hand on her shoulder, and I told her I loved her, and I was going to never leave her.
Tony was taken into emergency surgery.
The baby was delivered fairly quickly then by cesarean section. We got an excellent baby out. And what was amazing to us is that fairly quickly after the cesarean section, she began to show some signs that she had some feeling, and we didn't expect it at all. We were stunned and excited that we had any sort of sensation.
And by the time we finished and ready to take her off the table for her C-section, she was able to wiggle her big toe a little bit on both sides. That was a miracle to begin with. I would never have believed it. But, you know, I went out and told her family, hey, we've got a chance here.
Oh. She'll be here in just a second.
When Tony was first shown her baby, Lindsay, she couldn't even turn her head to look at her daughter.
At that point, I prayed all the time, God, if nothing else, just give me my arms so I can hold my kids. That's all I ask for. I don't care if I never get my legs back. Just give me my arms so I can hold and cradle my babies.
3 days later, Toni underwent another operation in which doctors replaced the broken vertebrae with a bone graft from her hip.
The day after surgery, she began losing function again. But I told her, it still could come back. And so she did not get too depressed at that point. I was much worse off than she was.
Oh, there you are.
Truck driver Franklin Bicknell came to visit Toni while she was recovering from surgery in the hospital.
She said, you guys made it possible for me and my baby to live. And she says, I'm going to walk out of this hospital for you.
I told him, I said, the doctor's opinion is I'll never walk again. I'll never do this. I'll never do that. My opinion is I'm going to do everything they told me I couldn't do.
On June 16, 1991, after 5 months of grueling physical therapy, Toni Frazier kept her promise and walked out of the hospital.
Throughout my therapy, I have had steady progression, constant gain, constant improvement. But every once in a while, it seems like I plateau. But I never gave up hope. Charlie pushed me every single day, and he used to come in and tell me, just close your eyes and just push yourself to move something. Push yourself to move something.
And every day was a different muscle coming back. And she wanted to hold the baby so much, I think it just gave her the power to heal herself. I mean, she just, each day it's something else.
Toni's a fighter. She's definitely a fighter. And it's taken a lot of courage on her part to come as far as she's come. She's just like one of my daughters to me. I'll always be there if she needs me. If for anything, I'll be right there.
I can honestly say that before this accident happened, I took a lot of things for granted. I've been given a chance, and I hope that I can be inspiration for that 1 out of that 10 that the doctors say I'll never move.
Well, I'm very proud of her. Every time I see her, it tells me there's hope.